G'day, welcome to this week's FriBaT, Friday Beers and Tools with Andy. Well, we've got a special one this week. We're going to go on location to the shed again. I've had installed something very, very special I've been waiting for a long time. But first, let's talk about the beer. This week we're reviewing a beer from Botany Brew, and this is their Botany Brew Island Ale, lemon and ginger. So I guess it's more like a ginger beer? I don't know. What do they say about it? Zesty lemon and natural ginger are blended on a light beer base to deliver the ultimate brewed refreshment. One sip of Botany Brew Island Ale transports you to a tropical island state of mind any day of the week, which is probably pretty handy in Tasmania given how cold and wet it is at the moment during our winter. But I'm not going to complain about that because I don't mind it at all. Anyway, let's give this Botany Brew a test. Happy Friday. Wow. That's sensational. Now, those that have been watching the channel for a while, and my mates certainly know, I like a good beer. But having a nice ginger beer as an alternative is a really, really good thing. Wow. I think I've just found a new favourite beer alternative. This is 1.2 standard drinks, made in Australia, of course, 4% alcohol volume. Doesn't tell me where it's made in Australia. Being Botany Brew, I would imagine it's Sydney. But yeah, probably the only downside is that it's very expensive. I can't remember how much a carton it was. Yes, a carton of 24 in Australia, we call that a carton, is $82.99. That's kind of ridiculous. Even a 4-pack is $16. Yeah, that's really expensive, but it is bloody nice. Just enough lemon in there to sort of balance out the ginger. I do like a nice ginger beer, there's no doubt about that. But that's a really refreshing alternative. Does it transport me to a tropical island? Yeah. It's Tasmania and I'm still wearing a jumper. Look, I'm pretty impressed by Botany Brew's Island Ale. It's certainly a great alternative to beer when you just feel like something else that not quite a beer, something you don't really feel like going to the hard stuff, but you want something alternative. That's really nice. On my Spanner scale, what do we give the Botany Brew Island Ale out of 5? That's a solid 5 out of 5 for me. I've found a new alternative. Alrighty, well, I've got a very exciting addition to my dream shed arrived during the week and was installed, and I've been waiting for this for a long time. I'm nearly 56 years old and I've got a few broken bits, and lying on a floor working on a car, it's just not fun anymore. It's not really fun at any age, but when you're younger, at least you can do it without actually suffering the next day. When you're in your 50s and you've got broken bits, yeah, working on the floor really sucks. So my long-awaited 2-post hoist has arrived. I did a fair bit of research, looked into the bend-packed ones from the States. They were horrendously expensive in Australia, probably double the some of the other hoists. And yes, they are a very good name, but I'm not paying that sort of money for a non-commercial situation hoist. So I found a company in Australia called Joel's Garage Gear, and Joel's imports Chinese hoists, but their specifications and their quality control is excellent. It's really good quality gear. So I settled on, because I've got the Land Cruiser 200, which when it's all loaded up with bar work and winch and all that sort of thing is pretty heavy, I went for a 5-ton clear floor hoist. Clear floor meaning it has no joining panel between the two posts. So for low cars, that's particularly good, like the Monaro. I can just drive straight on and without having to drive over a hump in the floor. Now, this hoist in Australia retails for $4,000, including GST, and it's a pretty nice bit of kit. I'll put up a picture of the dimensions in front of me whilst I talk about it. It is total height of 4.263 meters, and you can actually adjust the width of the posts. I went for the widest position purely because having the Land Cruiser is a very wide vehicle, probably not compared to your Yank vehicles, you Americans, but I went for the widest, which is 3.879 meters, but you can have it as narrow as 3.579. It has three positions: 3.579, 3.729, and 3.879. It also worked out best for my situation in my shed because I've got a big area in the center which I'm going to use for car maintenance, car building, etc. So having the space to be able to drive through when I'm not using the hoist is also particularly handy. The hoist runs on a single phase 240 volt motor, and it runs on 20 amps, so you can't just run it on a normal 10 amp outlet. It does have to be wired in with its own circuit, and I'll talk more about who did that for me and give them a shout out as well. It has a max rise from the ground of nearly 1.9 meters, and that's in addition to it has several different lifting posts on the hoist plates. So that means for me, at around about 189 centimeters, I can stand up full height underneath it and work on vehicles without having to duck my head. That's a big thing. That was one of the things that drew me towards this hoist, was the height that I can put my vehicle on and be able to stand upright under it. Now, of course, you do need a fair amount of shed height if you're going to do that. And like I said, the overall height is 4.263 meters. So a lot of sheds, it won't work. It's just too high. It does have a limiting bar at the top, which enables you to actually hoist a vehicle, and the roof just touches the limiting bar, and that actually shuts off the motor. Has an overall lifting time of 60 seconds, and it must be installed on minimum concrete thickness of 150 mil. That's fairly standard. It's pretty bulky when it arrives. It weighs 950 kilograms, so nearly a ton. I had it supplied and installed by a local Tasmania company called Allen's Hoists Proprietary Limited, and Lindsay Allen came out with Tim, his offsider, and installed it and did an awesome job. I'm glad I didn't give it a go myself. It is a little bit of a specialist thing, and plus the best thing is it's got warranty once it's installed by somebody, by a professional. So the installation took about probably 4 or 5 hours. There was a bit of chin wagging involved in that. Lindsay was pretty interested in some of my toys that I've got in my shed, and of course we got talking about various different things. But very professional, excellent job, and couldn't rate them higher. They're awesome guys, and if you're in Tasmania and you need a hoist installed, give Allen's Hoist Proprietary Limited a call. Once the hoist was installed, I had my electrician come in, and he actually wired up a dedicated 20 amp circuit hardwired to the hoist. Big shout out to Ash from Anchored Electrical Services here in Launceston. Again, Ash is an awesome young fella. He's got a great young apprentice, James, working for him. So shout out to Ash and James. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate your work. And they had it all wired up within a few hours, which was fantastic. They did some other wiring for me whilst they were there as well. So let's get down to my review on the 2-post hoist, the 5-ton clear floor from Joel's. The build finish on this is awesome. Probably the only minor negative I could say from a finish perspective is that this is an extended top hoist. So it actually has a panel about 750 mil long that bolts onto the top of the column to give it the extra height, which is particularly handy for tall vehicles like Land Cruisers, etc. Speaking with Lindsay, he agrees with me. It'd be nice if they actually extended the post and made it all one piece rather than have that add-on bit. But I guess I also understand why they've done it, is so that if you don't have the shed roof height, you can actually have that part left out, and that brings the overall height down a little bit, but still gives you a very large, capable hoist. That's probably my only extremely minor negative. Look, it doesn't worry me at all. It looks fine to me. But yeah, that's probably my only minor negative about fit and finish. The everything parts-wise is fantastic. It's really nicely made. It's reasonably quick. I mean, again, I'm not in a commercial situation, so time isn't of the essence getting vehicles up and down on the hoist. But it seems to be quite quick enough for what I need to use. And at $4,000 odd, like I said, that's about half the price of an equivalent bend pack, which is that just blows my mind. But I guess being made in America and then having to import them in Australia, having said that, Chinese ones are imported to here as well, so I guess there's still a lot of import costs there. I am over the moon with it, and I'm so looking forward to getting a vehicle on it and start doing some work. Even if it's just maintenance on the Land Cruiser or whatever else, it's going to make things so easy, rotating tyres, doing oil changes, just all of that sort of stuff, brakes, suspension, just being able to have it on a hoist and bringing, if you're working on suspension, bringing it up to the right height so you're actually standing there rather than bending over working with it. Oh, mate, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, so that's it. This is an unpaid presentation. I just was really impressed with Alan's hoists and also Ash from Anchored Electrical, that I wanted to give them a huge shout out. They didn't give me any kickbacks for this, but of course I'm sure they'll look after me in the future. But they're just really top-notch Tasmanian companies that I can thoroughly recommend. So let's talk about review of the hoist. For value for money, for $4,000, yes, you can get lighter, smaller two-post hoist if you don't need to have the 5-ton capacity. Joel's, for example, has a 4-ton with a base plate, so you have to drive over it, and they're only $2,950. These are all work cover approved in Australia, so they can be used in commercial situations. There's no problem there. And like I said, they come with a 3-year warranty as well from Joel's, which is pretty impressive. So for value for money, at $4,000, I could have gone cheaper. I could have gone to the 4.5-ton, 3,300, or I could have even gone for the 4-ton at 2,950. But my engineering background tells me always go bigger, go better. And so spending the little bit extra money was worth at $4,000. So for value for money, at $4,000 for a 5-ton hoist, that's a 5 out of 5 beers for me. For functionality, everything works exactly as advertised. Yes, it could be slightly quicker, but I think the only way that you're going to make them quicker is maybe having a 3-phase motor driving the hydraulics. But even then, Lindsay tells me they're not that much quicker. So if that's the only reason why you're putting 3-phase onto a shed, that's a very expensive addition. So look, for functionality, I've got to give it a 5 out of 5. I don't see any reason to not give it full marks. It's an impressive bit of gear. Anyway, that's it for this week's FriBaT. Hope you enjoyed that. Thought you'd like a little bit of on-location shooting and a little bit more expansion and improvements to my shed. I can't wait to start using it. It's going to be brilliant. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. See you next week.